Good morning. Hey, you guys. Welcome to our daily reading. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Good morning. Funny. Hi, James. Hi, James. So, I just wanted to talk a little bit before I did the reading this morning about the many faces of ego. And a couple of things come up. And often the mind wants to look at things in either or. Either we go this way or we go that way. And it seemed that one of the teachings of the Buddha was to perhaps travel the middle road. And so if there's an either or, to maybe look for the middle way as opposed to this way or that way. And some of you will relate to this. Like, we've been doing the work for a while, and we recognize that that we have that the ego has many faces. That the ego has many faces, and the many faces of the ego can be self-doubt, can be fear, can be self-pity, and even self-pity has nuances, and self-doubt has nuances, and so we can, as we imagine that we want to move through these things so that we can be more in the presence of the moment or of God, we can maybe kind of like the leaves of a big tree be picking these leaves off the tree of our life that to surrender or let them go, and that's one way of moving through life, and in a way that I think that I've spent a huge portion of my life looking at, this is wrong. In judgment of myself, I have this or I have that, and it's a deep hole. It's a never-ending. Those leaves just grow back. They grow back. They seem to, always be there. The tree is alive as long as I'm alive, and so then there's this other way I've been watching with Muji. Muji has been, over and over and over again, I hear him take people on the direct approach. So as if none of this exists, into the presence of now, into God, into the awareness of self. And I suspect there's a bit of a path in the middle, becoming aware of ourselves and our ideas of ourselves, our ego. In the 12-step approach, the root of our troubles, it says, is selfishness and self-centeredness. That's where it makes it stand. It says on page 61, I think, the root of our troubles is self-centeredness and selfishness and self-centeredness, and that it has talks about 100 forms of fear and self-delusion and self-seeking, and so with the 12-step approach, it feels more like the middle way. We are becoming aware of what the 12 steps calls our defects of character. We can also call the many masks of ego, and we become aware of our defects of character so that we can surrender them and let them go. So that's kind of like taking the leaves off the tree, and at the same time we're we're asking, for God's will and how to be present in each moment. We're asking to be shown. And so it really does feel like a middle way, a combination of the direct approach to a relationship with the moment, outside of fear, outside of selfishness and self-centeredness, and also, doing the work on ourselves, where we're picking the defects of character, if you will, or the masks of ego off of the tree, leaf at a time, and because we're all of those things, we can be liars, right? We can be, and often the root of the lie is fear, and which is, comes out of selfishness and self-centeredness. We're afraid that we're going to lose something, and so we can. That's why selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of that, in that philosophy, and that we see that our problem is and that we can't seem to just move through that on our own without a God connection. That this connection with a higher being is or power greater than ourselves is essential. Okay. So there's a couple of things, and I watch in myself, my own, what's happening for me is that I'm finding it difficult. Ego is, I feel like, in a way, is really kicking up the storm. I've been spending hours and hours and hours listening to Muji, and with this direct approach to connection with, to surrender even the idea of myself. There is no self. There is no me. I'm just if I'm in the moment, there's no me. There's only a me that I know in a collection of experiences. It's like a book of me. But if I throw away the book, what's left? There's just this me of all these stories that I think are me. So his approach is to let go of all of that. And I've been deep into that. And wow, I think the ego has been attacking and telling the story of, that I'm not good enough, and I'm not, smart enough, and I'm not qualified to be doing this even, and so it's interesting to be in the battle and or maybe let go of the battle, just to surrender the battle. So anyway, I see that I'm in the middle of it, and ego says, but you should be past all that. Ego says, you should know better. All right. Life, makes me, I could cry, So I don't know. No, I don't. You take your path. I'll take mine, and we'll all, all the roads lead home anyway, right? Becoming nobody. Ram Dass said, becoming nobody. There is no David. Oh, Jason, you're so full of shit. You are so full of shit. We'll talk. This guy, and maybe this is ego on my part, but there's people that have appeared, like this fellow who seems so certain that which can be asserted without evidence should be dismissed without evidence. It's just, stop it. You're quoting bullshit. What's your experience? Jason, Terrence Noble, what's your experience? Who are you? Don't quote bullshit. Anyway, speaking of bullshit, I'm going to read some of this 24-hour day book. Yeah. And if any of it tweaks for you, great. Great. If any of it tweaks for you. And Mr. Noble, come on our Monday night call. You know, show your face on our Zoom call and speak your truth. You're invited. We have a Zoom call on Monday night, and it is aired publicly on Facebook and YouTube. And let's see who you are. I'm not interested in what you've read or who you can quote. Right? Let's see who you are. A highly advanced primate. Absolutely will. Awesome. So, awesome. Monday night it is. High noon. We'll see who you are. And remember, it's not about right or wrong, or good or bad. There's many, many roads. And for us to claim that we know the only road, or somebody has the wrong road, is fundamentalism, really. It's like, I don't know. I believe that God is everything. And truth is subjective. Truth is subjective, Jason. You know, you're so comfortable in your truth. Let's give that tree a shake. Truth is subjective. Who knows the truth? Your truth is based on who you think you are, and you don't know who you are. Do you? Okay, I'm going to read this. June 16th. I know I don't give a shit about truth. Truth is bullshit. Don't tell me about truth, Jason. You think so? We'll see. We'll talk about it. Truth is subjective. It's your opinion. It's not truth. We'll talk about it. Here we go. Thought for the day. In June 16th. There's no problem, Jason. You see a problem because you see a problem. That's your truth. What if the problem is the answer, not the question? What if the problem is the question and not the answer? We'll talk. I got to read this. Hang on. June 16th. Thought for the day. But even faith is not the whole story. There must be service. We must give this thing away if we want to keep it. The Dead Sea has no outlet, and it is stagnant and full of salt. The Sea of Galilee is clear and clean and blue as the Jordan River carries it out into the lives of others. To be of service to our fellow man makes our lives worth living. Does service, the question he asked at the thought for the day, does service to others give me a real purpose in life? Tracy says, we're getting some conversation this morning. Tracy says, you're not a bad person if you don't trust people. If people don't believe myself, they're not meant to be in my life. Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know that that's the truth either. You know, life on life's terms means that people who show up are often meant to be there. And there's a lesson for us, and, you know, there's an opportunity for everybody. So let's imagine that there are no mistakes, that there is a universal intelligence, and we're part of that. Meditation for the day. Seek God early in the day, before he gets crowded out by life's problems, difficulties, or pleasures. In that early quiet time, gain a calm, strong confidence in the goodness and purpose in the universe. In that early quiet time, gain a calm, strong confidence in the goodness and purpose in the universe. Do not seek God only when the world's struggles prove too much and too many for you to hear or face alone. Seek God early, when you can have a consciousness of God's Spirit in the world. People often only seek God when their difficulties are too great to be surmounted in any other way, forgetting that if they sought God's companionship before they need it, many of their difficulties would never arise. Nice. James, that's hypothesis. That's bullshit too. Sorry, buddy. But, you come on the Monday night call and talk about stuff. You've disappeared and throwing darts from a distance. Show up. Having conversations, Trevor. Yeah. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may not let God be crowded out by the hurly-burly of life. I pray that I may seek God only early and often. I may seek God early and often. Pray that I may seek God early and often. Nice. Beautiful. So, interesting discussion this morning. Some who believe there is no God. And for me, I feel like I'm in the, in the juicy part of life. I'm in the juicy part of life. And maybe, I am feisty today. I'm in the juicy part of life. I think there's a lot of observers, a lot of spectators. Let's get in the game. Let's get in the game. And people who run away too, if things don't go just their way. If somebody challenges them, they run away. So let's try to focus on personal experience, what's really happening in each moment, not book-learned quoting, and see life, see where God is in each moment. Feel our own fears, feel our own doubts. Feel them, really feel them. We run away. Feel them. Yeah. So, love you guys, so that's a month and a half of doing this. Wow, what has happened in a month and a half? Hey, all this is we started doing this reading on the 1st of May, and a lot has really transpired. We've stirred up some stuff. Okay, you guys, love you lots. Remember, we're ambassadors of love. And James, you're so full of shit. All right? You just, it's hypothesis. My truth can change from moment to moment. For me to hang on to my truth that is past. I'm not talking about hanging on to anything. I think truth is bullshit. So that's just a way of hiding behind a word. That's what we're doing, most of us, is hiding behind some kind of a bullshit word. So let's imagine the truth is only this moment. Yes. And that's what I said. Yes. And my truth. Who are you? What's my? Let's talk about that. Is there any such thing as a James? It's just a story you've made up about you, and a story that you're living out. So, if we get connected to, if we really are one with, there is no you. Imagine that. Letting go of who you think you are. Hi, Paul. Letting go of who you think you are. Reality is a bullshit word as well, Jason. The truth is that which corresponds with reality. There's no such thing as reality. What are you talking about? Who do you think, who's reality? You don't know even who you are. So what's reality? These are words that we hide behind. Ego throws these words around. And they're quite generally safe. People won't challenge them. So they're, have a look at that. Corresponds with reality. What is reality? Reality, that's, a bunch of atoms swirling. If we go deep into it, what is it? Our perception of this moment, we call it reality. We don't know what's here. We don't even know who we are. So, reality 150 years ago was that nobody could fly. Right? Now we're living in space. What is reality? Reality's always moving, changing. You think you know who you are, you can tell me who you are. Yeah? When I fart in my truck, I find out. I exit. A fart in the truck is a reality. That's right. All right, good discussion this morning, you guys. And Mr. Noble, let's continue. Or if I don't agree with you, will you run away? I told you who I am. No, you didn't. You don't know who you are. A primate. Truth is the moment in what the experience that I am in, and all in the I am that is the all. Oh, you're quoting bullshit again, James. You're full of it. Love you, but you're full of it. Nobody knows. You don't know. I now know that you don't know. I don't know. Terrence Noble doesn't know. So, with that, who are you? Look into this moment. Who are you this moment? Yeah, you're right, Jason. I'm not talking about false belief. I'm actually saying it's all bullshit. And yeah, false belief, who gives a shit? You're running around with a banner, waving a flag saying, hey, don't believe in things. Right. Who are you now? Right now. Who is God? Is there a God? Okay. I got to go, you guys. I love you lots. And I hope there's some shit up, It's time. It's time. Because for me, it feels like I'd rather come out really strong saying I don't fucking know than pretend that I do. So here we are. You know, it's bullshit, Jason. You think that truth carries from moment to moment. You're living in a paradigm that is shallow. You're living in a story paradigm. You're living in a, so. No, I'm not saying I know. No, I'm not. I am throwing a reed, for folks from a belief system that seems to be helping lots of people. But ultimately, I'm not saying I know. No. Ultimately, I'm saying I don't know. And that's why each moment I pray and ask for God's will in some idea of, of God that I don't even understand, that I can't describe. I'm not saying I know. I can't describe this being, if there is a being. I can't describe this energy, if there is an energy. I just know that my experience is that if I ask for help, sometimes things seem to shift, and maybe that's just random, but I don't believe it is. So I don't know, though. I don't have an image of God. I don't have I'm not waving a flag or a cross or I don't have symbols. I don't have rituals to speak of. So, no. Okay, buddy, I gotta go. Love you. Let's do this some more. I do believe in love. Whatever that is. I believe love is something that we experience here. Okay, bye.